How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Build. Thanks for joining me. Today we are going to be building a stable platform. Theoretically, that's what we're going to start out building. Let's see if that's what we actually end up with. So we are going to start, this is a great way to start building a stabilizer. So we are going to take a block. We are going to grab some version 2 of the helicopter engines. We're going to put one on either side. I'm going to copy these two out, spin them around, drop them down just like that. Now we could put one on the top and the bottom to stabilize for rotating on for yaw, but we don't really need any of that. We'll just stick with the pitch and roll. So once we have these set up like this, we can actually remove this center block, and we're going to grab some deuces, 2x2s. We'll drop 2 down in there, lift one up here because we need one sensor, distance sensor, and we're going to put that in here facing inside so that it's always on, and that is going to be connected to these 4 helicopter engines, which we will hold down left control, double click, select all of those type, and we're going to remove any controls that were on there. We also want to set those to a maximum of 10 for speed, but we don't have any controls on them right now because there's no seat. So we're going to put a seat on there just so we can see some controls. Now we have a seat. We can left control, double click on those. We can open this up here and remove any controls that we have on it for W or S or anything else that we may have. And this we definitely want to keep up away from our helicopter engines because they won't spin if they're touching something. So we're going to do this just to keep the seat off of there. So now if we spawn that in, those are just going to constantly be spinning. And as you can see, it doesn't look like much of a stabilizer, does it? So let's get in the air a little bit and see how that actually affects the behavior in the air. So for, let's see, we'll use thrusters. Yeah. I was going to go with gimbals, but we'll go with some thrusters. So we got 2 thrusters. Build that in. Those are automatically set to space. We'll jump in our seat and hit space. As you can see, as soon as we get off the ground, see how when I lean it forward like that, it stays like that. If I lean it back, it'll lean it back. So that's those stabilizers acting. I can lean this way, it'll stay leaning that way. If I lean the other way, it'll stay leaning the other way. So for small builds like this, where it's a really small creation, this type of stabilizer will work really well. But if you're going to go with anything bigger than this and you actually want some to use some angle sensors to keep yourself totally stable rather than just removing any of the small movements and jitters. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add some angle sensors so that we can actually add another set of helicopter engines. And these will be controlled by our angle sensors. So again, we're going to copy these out. Nope, copy them out. Log this right on top of the other ones. These ones we want to get rid of our controls on as well. No S, no W, and we don't want those at 5. Let's try them at 3 first. We want to start low. So we want to set our angle sensors that we have on either side here. We're going to copy those out, and we're going to rotate those around and put them right in front like this. So now we've got a double set of helicopter engines with an angle sensor on the outside. Left control, double click on the angle sensor. That will select all the angle sensors. We'll go up to our configure tab, and we want to configure these to be 90 degrees in that direction, and let's go 180 in this direction. So now we want to make sure that our angle sensors, and always remember with an angle sensor that the support for the angle sensor is going to read the blue. So the dark side is where you want to have your support. So something on the front is going to be, for this angle sensor, you would need something in the front to support it. When it starts leaning forward, that's when that'll kick in. So we want to make sure that our dark spots, there's one here facing the front, this one here is facing the front as well, but we can just click on that, hold down Alt, give it a double spin, and now our dark spot is on the back. So we have a front and the back, and on this one here on the front, we've got this one here on the right hand side. This one's on the same, so we'll swap that one over to the left. Now they're opposite. So now all we have to do is figure out this helicopter engine right here will spin forward, which means that it will, or actually it spins backwards as its natural default. So it's going to want to spin backwards, which means the torque is going to be pulling it clockwise. So that means this one here doesn't need support on clockwise, this needs anti-clockwise, which means our front one, which is the clockwise, that is the one that is going to be connected to this helicopter engine. So knowing that, we can select this one and select our front helicopter engine. And remember, we're dealing with the outside one, not the inside one. So we'll figure the same thing out with our sides. We will say this one here needs front. This helicopter engine will spin backwards and lift the front. So this is the one that we want for this helicopter engine. And this one will be for this one. So now that we have that selected, we build that in, jump in here, hit spacebar, see if we can get into the air. And it won't flip over. We'll come up, won't flip over. Now see, if you ever have this happen, where it automatically wants to flip over like that, what that's saying is, you hooked up something wrong. So let's build this again, and then we're going left and right, which means this one should be spinning backwards and lifting, so it should be connected to this one. Ah, see, we got these two reversed, so we'll select these ones. This one is not that one, it is this one. Build it in, try it again. No spacebar, we can get into the air, lean forward, lean back, lean left, lean right. And we're not leaning anywhere. As you can see, I can lean all I want, and it just automatically stabilizes itself. Oh, 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 oh. So see, tilted, automatically straightened itself back out. So now I can't even lean forward with the seat controls because those helicopter engines and angle sensors. So this is totally, as you can see, totally floating level. So let's go back over to the carrier. Let's go back into build mode. And now we're going to do something cool. What we're going to do is we're going to move these over. Actually, let's move these right out to either side of this angle sensor. Like that. Copy another one out like this. We'll put this one on this side. Up like this. Copy it over. So now we've got four of those thrusters. And we want to set those on some speed sensors. Yeah. Alright, so what I'm going to do is come down here to our sensors, logic, speed sensors. Let's put them right on the outside here. And they are going to be facing upwards. It would be configured to be 0.1. And we will trigger below. So obviously anything as soon as it's moving downwards will be lower than that speed, and it will automatically trigger. So we're going to copy these to this side, and then we're going to select both of these and copy them out to the front like this. Now we're going to select our corner sensor and connect it to our corner thruster. So that one will be connected to that one.
This one going to be connected to this one. This one going to be connected to this one. And this one connect to this one.
Alright, so now because these thrusters are connected to this speed sensor, we can leave those on space, so the space bar will still work. It'll still get us into the air like this, up into the air. But when we let go, speed sensors kick in, and it keeps us level. So not only do we have the speed sensors and the individual thrusters keeping us level on all four corners, we have the helicopter engines and the angle sensors giving us stability for larger movements, and then the inside helicopter engines spinning on their own, which are just giving us positional stability. So super, super stable. So now we can lean forward a little bit more because we got a little bit more weight. See that? I lean forward. See, I can lean back. Maybe if I hit the thrust. So see, as we have barely any leaning ability, not going to do you much good for a vehicle if you can't steer or turn, or, right? I mean, you'll be able to turn flat like this horizontally. That's all fine and dandy. And you can't go down either. We can go up, but you can't go down. So let's do something about that. So we want to be able to go down. It's going down. We're using gimbals. Alright, we're going to use gimbals because gimbals have the wonderful properties of pulling straight down. Not to the left, not to the right. No hokey pokey. They pull straight down. Set these to -1 for power. And we're going to use left shift for down. So we want to copy those two out to the front like this. Now, in a best case scenario, we want to have our down pulling gimbals, or whatever you're using, thrusters, mini jets, whatever it is that you want to use. We want to have these as low as possible so that the pulling force is happening from a low part of the craft, not from up high. So let's rotate these and just pop them. Let's see, where can we stick these? Maybe just on either side of the, yeah, we'll try that. Try either side of the speed sensor like that, two there, two there. We want to try and keep them as far apart out to the corners as possible too. So we'll put those like that. Left shift, left shift. All right, let's build that in and see if it's strong enough. Oh, see, we got something connected here. That's what happens when you connect something to one of them spinning helicopters. So you always want to be thinking about that if you're using helicopter engines for stabilizers. You don't want anything connected to them. So we'll move that there.
And move that out, and move this out.
And now we should be okay with no wobbly wobblies. Yes, we're all good. Let's go up. And we stop. And then we left shift. And we go down. And then we stop. Left shift. And we go down. And we lean forward. Now always remember as well that your thrusters that are keeping you in the air only work when you're facing straight up and down, right? If you lean forward and start drifting forward or at an angle, they won't work because they require you to be going straight down in order to work. So you can't fix that by putting some speed sensors in other directions, and that way it'll stop you from going left or right or vice versa, and all those good things. So if we want to actually be able to lean forward so that we can engage thrust and go forward, all we need to do at this point is just weaken the strength of the helicopter engines that we are using with the angle sensors. So we're just going to set these, they're at 3, let's set them down to 2 and see how that does. So can we lean forward? Oh yeah, look at that. We can even crash if we want to. Look, can we crash? Oh yeah, full on crash. And we do some breakdancing moves. Yeah. Spin to win. Okay, hey, settle down. You make me dizzy, man. Alright, so we got our up. We can lean back, use our thrusters, and then we can just let go of everything once we're getting somewhat stable like this, and you can see those will kick in. It will still keep us stable. Still fairly... we're drifting backwards. But that you can set up with mini thrusters or speed sensors facing backwards or forwards. So the same way we have thrusters keeping us in the air right now, those negative gimbal jets, 4 of them. See how the thrusters automatically kick in to try and fight from going down? But the gimbals are stronger, so the gimbals win. That's why I like to use the gimbals for downward force, because they only pull you straight down and they actually are pretty strong. So we have upwards, we have downwards. We can tilt forward and hit thrust. Spacebar still works for our thrusters. It will automatically try and level itself out. Angle backwards to stop. And from this point, you can build just about anything you want. Now again, if you are building a larger creation, you're going to want to use a wider stance for your stabilizers. And you can use more than one, not a problem. I've built some creations with using a full stabilizer like this, a full setup on each corner of a creation if it's big enough. A big giant flat platform. Oh. So that's the basis of how I keep things stable while in the air. Still be able to steer around, lean forward, lean back, turning left and right, so forth. So if we were to build this, say if we wanted to stop ourselves drifting backwards, we're just going to add a speed sensor, say on the back here, and just for symmetry's sake, we'll add a second one. And then we need something that activates those speed sensors, because we're going to select both of those and set the speed to 0.1. We want to trigger below. Actually, we don't want to trigger below because we're not facing upwards. They're just straight back. So once this thing starts moving backwards, it's going to trigger these, which need to trigger something that's going to stop us from moving backwards. So we can use some little tiny mini thrusters. We've got some connection points here on either side of the seat, where we could put a mini thruster like this. If we're drifting backwards, we want it to, so we can actually put full controls, 2 facing backwards and then 2 facing forwards. And again, we want to get rid of the controls on those. Oh, let's double click all of those. We want to get rid of the space on those, because if you did, the space is set up for our upwards thrust already. So we want to select these 2. So let's say we're going to select this one to connect to this mini thruster that's going backwards. And this one is going to be connected to this mini thruster going backwards. Again, you can change the strength of these mini thrusters if they're getting too strong. So we'll build that in. We'll go up in the air. See what we did there? We don't actually want the thrusters pushing us backwards. We want the thrusters to pull us forwards because we're drifting backwards. Hello, McFly. Okay. Like that. Now, no going backwards. Come on, let's go backwards. Can we go backwards? No? See, we'll drift forwards, but as soon as we try and go backwards, nope. It's not happening. So something similar to that. So as you can see, we can turn around now, and we don't drift backwards no more. We drift forwards. But we can stop that as well by adding some forwards-facing sensors on the front there and connect them to that other set that are facing backwards. There you go. Shazam. So that is an updated version on building a stable platform. Alright guys, I think that's all I got for you here. Hopefully this helps you out with the Stabilizer 2.0 build. Again, applicable to a lot of different builds. Wow, that's noisy. I want to thank you all for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're almost at 5,000. See if we can hit that. And yeah, a lot of you viewers aren't actual subscribers, so hey, don't be afraid. Come on, hit that button. I know you wanna. Hit that notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. And we will see you in the next one. Ciao.